Hi, I'm Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company. And thank you so much for joining me today. Today's topic that we're going to talk about, it can be a little emotional for job seekers, and understandably so. So we're going to address it head on. I'm going to talk today about reasons why hiring managers may toss your resume and not call you for the interview. And if you've been struggling to land interviews, especially for jobs that you know you're qualified for, then you're going to want to stick around. And I believe that you will find today's video really helpful and eye-opening for you to make some changes to your documents, so this way you can start landing interviews. So I've observed, for those of you who may not remember, I was a recruiter for 13 years prior to opening Chameleon Resumes. So I know firsthand what recruiters look for when they're opening up resumes on desktops, on phones, obviously receiving it via paper on an interview, when you hand it to them, when the candidate hands it to them on an interview. And I know where the eyes go, I know what they're looking for. And I've observed basically these four areas where if a resume has these issues, it can often get the resume tossed. So I've come up with this list of four. Now there's obviously more reasons, but I find that these four reasons are often the main reasons why resumes get tossed and by hiring managers and don't land the interview. So let's jump in. And the first reason that I find can make a resume get tossed by the hiring manager is the resume isn't making it clear what job is being sought. And I've seen the beginnings of resumes, that top third of a resume, be really vague, and I think and it's a mistake. The mistake that I see job seekers make is in trying to be all-encompassing and make sure they don't lose any opportunity. They have these really broad, often not even stating a position type of resume openings or resume headings, and they wind up not really speaking to anybody because they're just so general. The key is to be specific. Make it clear which job that you seek. If you're making it clear which job that you seek, you have a much greater chance of getting that interview call or that request for an interview via email. The reason being is, I'm going to tell you firsthand, a recruiter, a hiring manager is not going to take the time to figure out where you fit in their company. Part of submitting a resume is not only demonstrating how qualified you are, but it's also demonstrating that you want that job that is open at that organization. And when you're crystal clear about what job you are seeking, you are subliminally sending a message to a recruiter or a hiring manager that I want this job, that you want this job. So, you need to be crystal clear to not only outlining the jobs that you are seeking, not only to make it easier for the recruiter, because again, I'm going to tell you, there's another resume right behind yours that's making it easy to determine what job they want. But you not only want to make it easy for the recruiter, you want to demonstrate to that recruiter that you want this job. That is equally as important to that recruiter or hiring manager as it is your qualifications. So that's number one. Make sure that you're making that job that you want crystal clear to the hiring manager, so this way your resume doesn't get tossed. The second reason why your resume may get tossed by a recruiter or a hiring manager is because it's way too dense and they can't read it. And I know everyone who watches this video will relate to this, because whether you're a hiring manager or not, everyone has opened up documents, contracts, emails, dialogues from coworkers or friends or family members, and when it is super dense, big chunky paragraphs that have a lot of big words, and when you scroll, and after like 2 or 3 scrolls, especially on your phone, and it's still going, you kind of like are visually overwhelmed and you don't want to really read it. Or even if you are reading it, it's kind of like mumbo jumbo in your head and you can't really make sense of what the document says. Well, the same thing goes for resumes, and I could tell you that, here's a little secret that, people don't want to talk about, but although actually that's not true. It is talked about, but nobody really wants to admit. I will admit it. Recruiters don't like to read, okay? I know I was one of them. We scan. When we're getting resumes, inundated with resumes, and you're looking at, possibly a couple of hundred a day in certain cases, you're not reading every word on the resume. You scan it. It's like websites, right? Think of it when you look at websites. How many times when you're looking through, doing research and you're looking at a website, do you read every word on the website before you determine if you're going to click to move further into the website, or if you're going to go back and go look at another one? You don't read every word, you scan. Well, the same thing happens. And if the resume has a lot of is very dense and doesn't have a lot of white space, I could tell you it makes it really hard for that reader or hiring manager or recruiter to read it, and they often won't. And especially if it's really dense, coupled with the item I mentioned in the first point, where you don't have a clear defined position that you are going for, they literally will just kind of give up. Usually the recruiter will kind of give up reading it and just go to the next one, because the next person you're competing against most likely has a title and has some white space around all of their writing, so it makes it easy for the recruiter's eye to move through the resume, and scan it to determine that you have what they need, and it motivates them to keep reading. So you want to make sure that you have enough white space and you don't have a super dense resume. And the third reason that I see resumes get tossed by hiring managers or recruiters is you're not listing the skills that are needed in the job. No matter how nice you are, no matter how visually, aesthetically beautiful your resume may be, or you may have even worked through some great places, if you're assuming you can do the job, but you're not articulating the skills in the form of keywords, in the form of titles, topical items that they need to see to make sure you have the skills that they need in the job before bringing you into an interview, you're not going to get an interview. You have to have the skills in order to do the job. And in some cases, that is in the form of keywords. So you need to have certain skill sets in technology, in science, in writing or whatever, in marketing, whatever the case may be. So you need to have the keywords. But more importantly, on a bigger scope, because skills can be articulated in other ways other than keywords, you need to demonstrate basically that you have the skills that are needed in the job. And if you don't have the skills articulated in your resume that are needed in the job opening, again, no matter how well written, no matter how pretty it is, or how great you are, you're not going to possibly get an interview. So you need to make sure that you're articulating the skills. Now, the skills can be articulated either direct, if you're a marketing person, you have these specific marketing skills, or they can be transferable. If you've been a customer service manager, in one industry, and now you want to apply those same customer management skills from one industry as an account manager in another industry, you still need to spell out to that hiring manager how you have transferable skills. But you still need to list the skills. You can't you can't not list them. So I find that if you don't list the skills on your resume that are needed in the job, your resume often gets tossed. And then the fourth reason why I see resumes get tossed is you have a very task-driven resume, and you're not differentiating yourself amongst the other competing candidates about how well you've done those tasks. So again, you need to write an achievement-based document, an achievement-based bullet for every one of those skills that are needed in the job. You need to show how well you've done that particular skill, how well you've done a particular task. And that will start to differentiate you amongst the other candidates that you're competing against that have submitted for the job. You're not the only one submitting for this position. So you need to demonstrate to the reader, which is the hiring manager or the recruiter, in some cases the same person, you need to demonstrate how well you have done that particular task. You can't just have a list of tasks as your job duties on your resume. You can't look like a job description with your name on it. You need to show how well you've done each of those tasks. That's how you make the resume yours, and it makes it differentiates you from other candidates. So I hope these 4 reasons have been really eye-opening for you and that you can make changes. And if you're interested in having resume templates that I've designed that basically fix these 4 problems, I want you to go to the description box. I've created a little bundle that has 3 interview generating resume templates that I created. Again, I was a recruiter for 13 years. I know what recruiters want to see, how their eyes move through the documents. And the 3 templates that I've created, if again, you go to the job description, the description box below, you will see the link where you can buy those 3 templates. It'll fix the problems that I've mentioned today. And again, it'll give you layouts that show you how to make it crystal clear what job you're seeking. These templates will help you with the layouts that I've created, have natural white space around each of the different bullets and around and the font sizes you should be using and the fonts you should be using and different layout, the 3 different layouts that I've created, so this way you can have different variations but all have white space. It will show you how to match up the skills in the job with the skills that you have. So this way, when you're looking at the job description in this final resume that you'll ultimately create using these templates, you'll see that you're speaking to the job, the skills that the job needs. And lastly, we're going to show you how to write an achievement-based bullet once and for all. So again, those 3 resume templates, the bundle is in the link in the description where you can buy those. And otherwise, I know you can also take these 4 points and run with it yourself. However it works for you, I just wanted to make sure that I am of service to you today and you have what you need, because you can fix this. That's the key. The key is to know that you can fix this. Again, I'm Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company. If you've enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, I'm just going to ask if you can like and share it, and if you would like to comment below with any questions or observations you have, I'm always grateful and will respond to every comment. And if you have a question you want to send to me, you can email me at lr@chameleonresumes.com, and I read and reply to every email. And so this way we can stay in contact. So again, subscribe. Lastly, subscribe below and make sure that you can get the next video that we'll have coming out next week. So have a great day. Again, Lisa Rangel, Chameleon Resumes, and I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks so much for joining me today.